Hey everybody, it's Kate. Today we're going to make some crab cakes together. But before we get started, just wanted to ask a little favor for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel. We'll have lots of fun making lots of fun foods, so go ahead and just click subscribe. So yesterday something really exciting happened. I was chilling in the backyard with Hank and my friend Gordon called and he said, "I'm almost to your house. I have these crabs. Do you want some for your cooking show?" And I said, "Of course I do." So he stopped by with live crabs and he was kind enough to clean them for us. So all I had to do was boil the legs and claws, which I did last night. I did it last night so that the meat would stay nice and preserved and we could make crab cakes today. So we've got our steamed crab. I boiled this in a pot of water with some salt, enough to make the water salty like the ocean, some smoked paprika, cayenne, and some fresh garlic cloves that I chopped up and threw in the water too. And that was just to season the meat a little bit while we boiled it. All right, so now it's time to crack these babies open and get the meat out. And I don't have a proper crab cracker at home because we don't ever do this, so I found some vice grips in my toolbox and we're gonna use these. All righty, let's get started. We'll just kind of crack her open like that. I'm just gonna carefully remove the shell so that we don't end up with any in our crab cakes, and pull this beautiful meat out and throw it in this bowl. Let's do a claw. So now I have my crab meat all removed from the shells and I stirred it up with a fork so that it would be little pieces for our crab cakes. Now I've never made crab cakes before, surprise. So I went onto the old Google machine and looked up a recipe, and the recipe I found is telling me that we need 1 pound of crab. I don't know that this is 1 pound, so I'm gonna kind of build this recipe gradually. So I'm gonna teach you how to wing it with crab cakes. So let's start by beating 1 egg. Now, because I'm pretty confident that I'm close to 1 pound, I think 1 whole egg is gonna be okay, so we're going to bet on it. So I'm gonna add this to my bowl. And for seasoning, we need some Dijon mustard. Our recipe calls for 2 teaspoons, but since we're gonna start small, let's just put 1. Now we need some Worcestershire sauce. Man, I thought we'd never have a recipe where I had to say that again. And this calls for 2 teaspoons, but I don't want to measure this, so we're just going to do that. I think it's going to be the perfect amount. A 1/2 teaspoon of hot sauce, which just means a couple of splashes. Now we need our breadcrumbs. We're going to use the rest of these Italian breadcrumbs that I've had around forever and ever, and the recipe calls for 3/4 of a cup. I think that's about what we have in here. Let's do it. And we'll add our crab now. We're almost done here with our mixture. We're gonna add a couple scoops of mayonnaise, big heapers. So I'm gonna estimate about 1/3 of a cup of mayonnaise here. And that's gonna help our crab cakes hold together. Lastly, some fresh chopped parsley. You could use curly parsley, Italian parsley, and if you were really winging it, you could use dry parsley. That would not be a problem. Awesome. And a whisk is not gonna be the right tool for this, so we'll just grab a spatula and bring it together. Basically, you know you made a successful crab cake if you can see that the consistency is going to hold the cake together. that just means you did it. I mean, there's really nothing more about a crab cake. It has to be seasoned well and hold together as a cake, and then you've done it. Oh, we need some salt and pepper. I'm just gonna do a sprinkling of salt and a little bit of pepper. You could always add other seasoning, garlic, fresh garlic, onion powder, or diced onions, shallots. You could saute some shallots and put that in there. But really, I don't want to add too many flavors because I want to taste fresh Lummi Island crab. That's what I'm going for today. That's where these crabs came from. The Lummi Reservation, very near Bellingham. So we are lucky to be able to have these crabs today. All right, so now we make cakes. So now I'll just scoop out some crab cake batter, crab cake mixture with my hands and create some little patties just like you would for a hamburger. And just imagine how you want them to look on a plate. So I think that 2 of these would be a fine serving. So I'm gonna imagine that everybody at the table would get 2. Everybody being me and Matt. You're gonna wanna cook your crab cakes on a screaming hot pan to get a nice sear on the outside and brown them. But cook them long enough to get hot all the way through. Since I've never done this before, it's gonna be an experiment, and likely you'll wanna cook these on your stovetop. We just really like the grill, so we've got the cast iron out on the grill all heated up to fry these up, so let's do it. I'm so excited. Not that I doubted us, but you know, first time around with a new recipe is always nerve-wracking. But look at these gorgeous crab cakes. They are brown and toasty on the outside. I think they're gonna just be so crabby, wonderful with a little fresh parsley. I cannot wait to taste them. I'm gonna definitely squeeze some lemon on there and maybe even serve it with tartar sauce, but probably won't need any. So anyway, it's been great. Had a great time with you. Special thanks to Gordon for being so awesome and showing up with this crab on the spot. And so, we'll see you next time on Winging It in the Kitchen with Guy! So, my friend Gordon texts me, and he's like, hey, I got some extra crab meat. Do you want some crabs for your cooking show? And I'm like, does the crab in the ocean? Of course I do.